We're up to week 14 in the NFL, so the work begins again. Another Thursday night football slate upon us, but the prep work begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel for our DraftKings Showdown slates. We're going to dig in, look at projections from our friends over at Stochastic. See the top plays are, according to projections. See the top value plays are for all the players tonight on this Cowboys-Lions DraftKings Showdown slate. We'll check out who the chalkiest plays are, who's the highest owned guys. We'll find that out. We'll hop across the aisle, see what ETR and all the great minds over there think about the slate. What's your cash game build? What are some of your other sim lineups if we have those? We'll run a stochastic sim. I'll do a hand build. And by the end of this video, guys, you're going to know all the must plays for Cowboys-Lions, along with 3 ways to get unique on the Showdown slate. Always important for DraftKings. Let us get into it. And shout out to all you guys that have been watching lately. I've really been happy. I mentioned it on the NBA channel a lot, but NFL channel getting a ton of views here. That was one of our more viewed Showdown videos on Monday as well. So again, I feel like I'm creating good content right now. I hope it helps you guys out, even if all you're going to do is fade me here. But please do keep hitting that like button. Please subscribing around here. Goes a long way for me here. And shout out to the chat as well. Is my dog going to lick my neck today? Usually she doesn't do that, but she's not in the studio. She's hopefully not harassing my mother-in-law and Luke upstairs. And hit that like button. Yes, listen to Sean here. He knows best. And you got the first like. I'm glad that you get joy out of that. That's how you look. Whatever makes people happy, I support here. And that's the same thing with gambling, of course. But what'll make me happy today is these top projected players. Jahmyr Gibbs at number 1, a guy that I feel like I've gotten right a lot the last few weeks. Called the massive game against the Giants. Have been less in on him on some of the less appealing spots, including Thanksgiving. But Jahmyr Gibbs here, a 25.9 projection. Everybody is going to be in on him today. Looks like a good play overall at 11K salary. Your highest price guy on the slate, but with that projection, I imagine we're going to get him in a lot of lineups today. For Gibbs, the big things that stand out, number 1 is going to be a matchup against the Cowboys, where they're giving up about a 19% and change target rate to running backs overall. One of the higher marks in the league, 0.14 EPA on those plays as well. So Gibbs should be a nice safety valve target. The fact that Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's questionable right now, but does seem like he's not going to play with a high, well, gets to low ankle sprain is what they said, but about a 1 to 2 week injury is what they were hoping. Getting him back on 4 days or a few days of turnaround here, not seem like the most likely thing to do. But that said, if he were to play, you could probably throw everything out here. For Jahmyr Gibbs, though, getting that uptick with no Amon-Ra St. Brown expected. Massive total for Detroit as well, 28.5 implied points. Seems like a good situation against Jahmyr Gibbs today. The Cowboys, pass defense, bad, 0.16 EPA per dropback, 0.18 EPA per pass. Equally bad, though, versus the run, a 0.05 EPA per rush allowed. One of the worst marks in the league. In the red zone, it doesn't get better with a 0.14 EPA per red zone rush, 0.29 EPA per red zone pass. People think this Cowboys defense is better, but in reality, what they've seen is the positive side of volatility that comes when you generate a lot of pressure. The Cowboys are generating pressure at a 33% clip, hurrying the QB a lot, but it's still not a good Cowboys defense. So for Jahmyr Gibbs, as Mega Chalk, does feel like a player that I have no issue playing as much as you want today. We got our guy, presumably Tyler here behind the Toxic Tower handle, which I appreciate him pulling him up here because I still think Typhul Tower every time I want to think about the show to promote. But check out our guy, Tyler Emo Cowboys, streams on there. And thank you for the kind words, Sean. Like your content, Spags, and the money hat. If I didn't like your content, I would not even be. Okay, thanks. Thanks for saying the flip side of that. I hope that's true. Most people, if you don't like watching things, you shouldn't watch it. And if you do like watching things, you should, and you should support it and hit the like button. I paid for, you guys, if you know Alan Sepinwall, TV reviewer, I paid for a year of his email newsletter / website because I was like, you know what? I've been having some more success lately with these channels. I want to pay it forward to another creator I enjoy, a guy who's used to review stuff for HitFix, for Uprocks, for most recently Rolling Stone. So, support your creators, including the Toxic Tower in the chat as well. Dak Prescott at number 2, 20.9 projection on him, 10.4 salary. Of course, people will be loving to play this Cowboys offense. They always do. But showdown slates, we have it a couple times on playing the inverse a little bit, fading the Cowboys passing game when the ownership is there in a crazy way. But if I had to guess, Gibbs and Dak going to be 2 of the first guys in lineups today, probably alongside one of the values and one other player who's might be on the thumbnail over my shoulder right now. But really for Dak Prescott, think that he is a solid play, but certainly a guy where despite the Cowboys passing so much, and they are, one of our overall highest pass rate teams, in terms of the fact, at least it's a positive pass rate over expectation for the Cowboys of 0.6% on the year, a little bit lower in the red zone at 0.3%. But the main thing for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott right now is that I think he's going to get overplayed. So get why Dak's going to come up a lot here. 20.9 projection. But I think, to me, Gibbs a harder fade on the slate. We got Jameson Williams here, $8,400 salary, 20.2 projection. With how he played last game with Amon-Ra going out after only 4 snaps, I think that Jameson Williams is going to be mega chalk today. The projection being this high, the price tag being this low, it seems like the slate was not priced for Amon-Ra St. Brown to be out. So Jameson Williams going to be mega chalk. Again, relative to the Gibbs scale, let's call it. I think Gibbs, to me, it feels like, barring injury, I think he's going to make a winning lineup more times than not, whether it is a captain, whether it is in the flex. For Dak Prescott, Jameson Williams, a little bit more willing to move away from these guys for other builds. But JMO, hard to critique overall. If I were to say anything about the matchup, it's not great for him. Very zone-heavy matchup. Jameson Williams has been appreciably worse versus zone this year with only 1.7 yards per out run compared to 2.5. But as Laffy astutely pointed out when I did the strategy show this morning on Stochastic, Jameson Williams markets right now 5.5 receptions, I think 83.5, 85.5 receiving yards, about even money to score a touchdown. It does look pretty good for Jameson Williams in terms of if you were to put a projection together from those markets or in a stochastic projection here. I do think there's a lot of assumption that he picks up all the receiving yards because you have no Laporta. You have no really, I mean, we're missing a ton of options for Detroit at this point with no Amon-Ra, no Laporta. There's nowhere else that the passing production or, projection can flow to on the Lions. Like Tom Kennedy, small sample size guy. Isaac Tesla is barely getting targeted out there with only an 8% target per out run. Ross Dwelly is not getting targeted very much. 16% rate per route run's not bad, but overall, he played a ton of snaps last week, barely got targeted. Ferkser playing even less snaps with less targets. The way that projections work, it's going to naturally go more so, to Jameson Williams, to Jahmyr Gibbs. And, that's something to just keep in mind here, that if other Lions do exceed their, expected outcomes here based on how they play with barely any role, Jameson Williams projections should kind of naturally trickle down. If Amon-Ra is active, very likely to avoid it, continue to jam Gibbs and JMO. I really don't think Amon-Ra is going to be active, but that's usually how that goes. Let's see. We got CeeDee Lamb here, 18.6 projection, $9,600 salary for him. Lamb had the big game last time out for the Cowboys, but Pickens still looks good enough week to week. Really don't have a lean too much either way. Projection-wise, Lamb is at 18.6. As you can see here, Pickens is at 18.4. The price tags as well, Lamb at 9,600, Pickens at 9,400. Based on the matchup, I would think it's a little bit more of a CeeDee Lamb matchup. As opposed to the Cowboys, Lions play man defense at a higher clip, a 41% rate, one of the highest man defense rates in football. That has been more of CeeDee Lamb commanding targets there, a 30% target rate, a 33% target rate versus man compared to 23 for Pickens versus man. But both guys, to me, at this point, kind of the same player. It does seem interesting to me to play neither Lamb or Pickens. Obviously, the game script going against the Lions, you'd expect it to be a spot where the Cowboys get aggressive. But I think every lineup today is probably going to have Lamb or Pickens along with Gibbs, along with maybe Dak and JMO. I don't know if that's all going to fit. Tom Kennedy is your value to get there. There's just going to be a very particular way people build today, which is Jahmyr Gibbs plus, as much of the pass game of Dallas people can get in. And then whatever else on top of that, most likely Tom Kennedy is a value. I think for CeeDee Lamb, I like him as a play. I think that if I were to get Pickens a less ownership, I'd be happy to do that. We'll see what the ownership looks like in a minute, but I think Lamb having the big game most recently, you probably get a little bit of a spike in ownership on Thursday Night Football because of that. All right. We got Jared Goff here, 18.4 projection, 10K salary for him. Jared Goff, very volatile play on the slate. I will say, and this is no disrespect to any chatters out there, but especially stochastic chatters this morning, did feel like that chat was really anti-playing Jared Goff today, assuming that you're going to get the worst of him against the Cowboys defense. It does create a lot of pressure. But the big thing is that Jared Goff, number one, is bad under pressure. I think most people know that. It was sort of clear for me seeing what the kind of general feedback from the public was in that chat as well. Jared Goff on the year, getting sacked 6% of the time. It's not a great rate. Not seeing pressure a ton at 34%. That's about league average. But a negative 0.7 EPA per play under pressure is not good. For comparison, Dak Prescott, about the third best QB versus pressure this year. He's on a negative 0.2 EPA per dropback. So Jared Goff, roughly, a little bit worse than 3 times behind Dak Prescott. It's not great for Jared Goff. But I think the public is very much aware of that. And I think for Jared Goff, playing more into the Lions passing game, especially if you aren't playing JMO, but even if you are, I think is a little more logical to me because people are going to play Dak out the wazoo. Jared Goff, I don't think it's going to get played nearly as much. But there's volatility to it. Like Jared Goff, you told me he takes 5 sacks today, has a turnover because of him, seeing all that pressure. I don't think it'd be surprising. You're losing a really important safety valve for him with no Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I think the public is going to be really into the idea of Jared Goff failing here, despite a really high total for Detroit. So we'll see what we get when we run the lineups and all that. But my gut instinct is that I kind of want to play more Goff here, even if I'm playing Cowboys defense with it and assuming they get some sacks. Brandon asking, would I consider fading Dak and playing Lamb and Pickens? Don't think he gets all 3 and get Gibbs. I think a lot of people are going to run to that decision. I probably would not want to play both because if Lamb and Pickens both made it, that probably does mean Dak gave you high teens fantasy points, I would think at least. Yeah, I would think you probably at that point are trying to fade Gibbs and play Dallas smashes. Maybe Montgomery gets a rushing touchdown, passing game production more. But that's the thing with the slate like this. Like people are going to want to jam in all the high priced options. And in reality, you're probably be better off building a more balanced build as opposed to what people are going to do, which is jamming in stud player A, B, C, Tom Kennedy, something else. And that's, I think, what the slate's going to go. And the chat is chatting. Yeah, be cool, chat. I'm kind of just rolling by it here, but I appreciate all you guys, regulars here, even some of the newer names that we have coming along. But we're all here. We're in this together, like I always say, even when I want to yell at people. What are Goff's ratings versus man and zone? I don't check QB splits versus that because it doesn't really actually predict anything. Receivers matter more in those situations, but you can look it up yourself. I don't know. That's a great question, honestly, but not one I care about. When you start splitting stuff too much, it does get a little bit noisy. Tom Kennedy. Your value play du jour, really obvious top value here at a 2K salary. He played over 40 snaps last week. I'll get the exact number. 41 snaps last week for comparison. Tesla 58. Jameson Williams 59. Amon-Ra played only the 4 there. For Tom Kennedy, he took over as a slot. There's not a reliable tight end who can take some of those targets away. So a week of practice would think that Tom Kennedy can be even more entrenched in the offense. That said, Tesla's had a week of practice as well. He was barely targeted out there. Should look a little bit better. I think there are worlds where you can play Kennedy with Tesla, fade JMO, try to get unique there. But certainly you could also have the work consolidate the more expected way, which is just a ton of targets. You have for Jahmyr Gibbs, for Jameson Williams. That's that. But for how Tom Kennedy looks here, he's a top value at 2K. I personally, even with me having all the data at my fingertips that I could possibly put together for myself, I think Tom Kennedy looks like a great play here. When he's been out there, he's been targeted just shy of 20% per route run. That is higher than JMO on the year, even higher than Dwelly. It's only behind the running backs, both Gibbs, who's at 29% target per route run, and Montgomery's at 22. So the role has looked good for Kennedy, small sample size as well. And he's been really efficient. I would say arguably unsustainably efficient coming out of the slot. But I think that for Tom Kennedy, the big thing is that the role is there and it was there immediately. And maybe something in practice changed this week, but you have no Khalif Raymond. Tim Patrick's not on the team anymore. It's basically like him or Tesla. One of them, I think, has to hit unless the tight ends go much wilder than expected. Number 2 value, Hunter Lukey. Never a fun click, but he has actually won a showdown this year. So Hunter Lukey, unfortunately, you got to talk about. Played 20 snaps last week. For comparison, Javonte Williams played 56. So Hunter Lukey, mostly fullback, blocker, can catch a pass or two. Not a very exciting click, but he's $400. And, if a lot of the field's going to play Tom Kennedy, rolling the dice with other values, hoping they somehow outscore Tom Kennedy. Never going to be a crazy thing in a showdown. Jameson Williams at number 3, Jahmyr Gibbs at number 4. We talked about these guys already, but even with them being top projected plays, they are also top values. So you have to imagine when we run to the ETR side of things, they're going to be 2 of your cash game, probably every lineup in the top 25 plays. And that's it. You are with the field fully if you play JMO and Gibbs today. And obviously you get why you would with no Amon around the data set. But, that's the chalk. And sometimes in showdowns, the name of the game is just not playing the chalk and hoping it works out. And these guys, I would, if I had to guess, going to be mega, mega, mega chalk, even relative to a showdown slate. And Isaac Tesla here, not sneaky, $4,400 salary, a little bit cheap for a guy who did play the 50-plus snaps last week. Tesla, again, not getting targeted a lot, under a 10% target per out run rate at 8% on the year. But he is a deep target. If you see pressure that comes from Dallas, but that doesn't get home, Jared Goff attacking downfield and potentially hitting Tesla, because if there's one thing the Cowboys are going to try to stop in the pass game, it is going to be Jameson Williams, whether they can or can't. But that's what they're going to try to do, is stop Jameson Williams. Tesla should be able to get downfield. That said, a 9.4 projection on him, $4,400 salary. He's going to get into lineups here. So top values, I mean, it's all Detroit. I have to imagine we're going to get a lot of Detroit dominant stuff. Kennedy, JMO, Gibbs, Tesla, all top values here according to Stochastic. Kicker's a good amount behind. Jake Bates, a little expensive at $5K. Brandon Aubrey, $5,400. Kickers and defense is not quite the values they normally are on these slates. Lions and Cowboys all the way down here. So people will not be playing those guys very much. All right, let's go to ownership next. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, 71% owned, 21% expected at captain. Yeah, I think that's about right. And by the way, guys, I want to pull the sticker off for a second here so you can see it better. But check out Stochastic. This data does update as the day goes on. If you want to see the updated data later on today, check it out. 15% off. Link down below for Stochastic. Promo code SPLASH over there, or click the link if you want to see their Cheesecake Factory menu of options. And of course, guys, make sure to help me out here. I'm just one guy showing you my gambling across the NFL on this channel, the Splash Play Bets channel, NBA every day at 2 p.m., including today. Ultimately, your support goes a long way from here. You guys have been really helping out by hitting that like button and subscribing. We're so close to 5K subs, too, on the channel. So subscribe, hit the like button here. I do these videos Monday, Thursday for the showdowns, Friday, tomorrow, same time, 12 p.m. for the main slate premium video as well. So please show some love, hit that like button, subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. Just one guy doing all this stuff as best I can. And just gambling like you guys. Again, we are in this together, as I always try to say. Jahmyr Gibbs, though, super chalk. Not a surprise here. A little more ownership at captain coming Jameson Williams' way. Again, feels to me, based off those prop markets in particular, hard to imagine him not making the flex, but everybody's going to assume that. So right away, 61% ownership for Williams, 71% for Gibbs. Honestly, both seem kind of light to me, but they're going to get into a lot of lineups. The only thing I think that could impede their ownership at all is people getting a little bit too excited to play the Cowboys on the other side and not being able to afford them both. Dak Prescott at number 3, 55% ownership overall, 9% at captain. Dak probably not going to come up as much as Gibbs and JMO, but I think we'll make a lot of lineups as well, especially your cash game build. If I had to guess, it's going to be Gibbs, JMO, and Dak right away. We got CeeDee Lamb at number 4. 12% ownership at captain, 53% overall. Lamb, again, should be the more popular play, but really Lamb at 53, Pickens 49. Not a big discrepancy between these two. And the captain ownership as well, both around 12. They are functionally the same player, ownership-wise, salary-wise, projection-wise. You should probably treat them the same way as well. And if you're playing both, I think at that point, Dak captain will look a little bit better. Tom Kennedy, I'll just highlight him at number 6 here, 42% ownership expected, 2% at captain. He's not priced correctly for a guy who played 40-plus snaps and commanded meaningful targets. That said, he is one of your certainties, I think, going to make a lot of lineups alongside Gibbs, alongside JMO, so just keep that in mind. Very strong play, but still a guy that will be a known commodity after spiking in a major way on the most public slate possible of Thanksgiving. And shout out Sean here. Appreciate the kind words. This man busted his ass to get the content on. Hit the like button. Yes, please. It's only polite. Just good etiquette. Lower owned guys down the chain. Tesla at 31%. Pretty owned, but not as much as Kennedy's going to be. Or JMO for that matter. David Montgomery, 22%. I think there's a good shot he makes it in the flex here, but you are paying for that at 7K. He pretty much has to score a touchdown at that salary. Ross Dwelly, who played, again, over 40 snaps at tight end, much more than Ferkser at 16 last week. Dwelly at 11%, or 12% ownership, let's say. Lions D, 13. Nobody's going to play defense today. All it takes is one takeaway or a bunch of sacks. Both can happen in this game. 9% ownership for the Cowboys D, 13% for the Lions. Schoonmaker, Flournoy, Malik Davis, Ferkser, all lower rotation guys. Flournoy and Turpin getting basically the same amount of snaps at this point. So they are your number 3 receiver, number 4 if you want to count Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys. And that's it. Not a lot of fun stuff down here. Let's see what ETR has for us next. I assume it's going to log me out, so let me just do that myself. Log out. There we go. Log in. We're going to ETR next, see what the solver has for us. We'll also see if it has a sim. I'm not sure if it will. All right, we do have a sim ready. Good. So we'll get all what ETR has for us next. We're going to build our cash game lineups here. Let me just tweak the projection a little. We're going to build 25 lineups here first. Before we do that, guys, again, one more ask. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. Of course, you saw what stochastic data has for you. You get all the cheap packages, all the expensive packages with the link down below. We're using the promo code SPLASH, and it is a key way to support the show because half the money you pay to stochastic does come back to me. So you got a tool for yourself or data, and you got, support your favorite creator here. So please do click the link down below if you're going to sign up for stochastic. Check it out. And of course, solver coming up here too. And if you want to support the channel most directly, $5 to join here. Join the Discord. You also get a premium video and my data sheet every week. All the advanced analytics that I swear by for sports info solutions put together into one spot here. So join the channel, support here, check it out. And shout out to all you guys hanging out here. I appreciate it. Okay. Oh, I love to hear that, Mike. Free trial just expired. Hitting the promo code SPLASH. Thank you for that. Yes, max package. That's a good choice. That's I feel like I'm a sommelier. Fine choice, sir. But yes, the most expensive one. Always a great choice, but there are good deals getting the 15% off. And if you are getting any of the all access monthly ones, use the avatar too, because you save extra money on that. All right. So cash game lineup, according to ETR data, we got Jahmyr Gibbs, Dak Prescott, George Pickens, Jameson Williams, Ross Dwelley, Tom Kennedy. No surprises here. Gibbs, Dak, JMO, one of the Cowboys receivers, Tom Kennedy. That's going to be a lot of lineups tonight, guys. If I had to guess, Stochastic always puts out a tweet for the showdown slates. What's your most duped lineup? It's going to be some shit like this. You are not doing anything creative if you play anything even remotely similar to a lineup like this. But if you're playing cash, this should be what you build. Overall, across the top 25, Jahmyr Gibbs is in all of them. And that's it. JMO did not make all of them. I am surprised by that. I have no settings on here. So yeah, neither JMO nor Tom Kennedy made every lineup. I'm kind of surprised. But Gibbs, your one player here, he will naturally, projection-wise, get into every lineup, especially with ETR data, so just keep that in mind. Gibbs, a great play. I consider him unfadable. The data will make him unfadable for you too. So main thing to keep in mind here is when a guy gets into 100% of our top 25 lineups with no boosts on, nothing like that, it just means that the projections will force that guy in more than you might even want. So we like Gibbs, so you want to get him a ton, but people are going to get him easily and quickly. Overall construction here, you're getting the most 4-2 Lions. Half the lineups include 4 Lions. Another 36% are 3-3 builds. Then 12% are 4-2s. So I guess the key takeaway here would be that 88% of the top 25 lineups include at least 3 Lions. So if you do build more towards the Cowboys heavy stuff, you'll be unique. Let's say the only 2 Lions you play are Gibbs and JMO. That will make you a lot more unique, and you're still playing the chalk. That's generally what you want to do on showdowns and really main slates too. When you're playing the chalk, just play it uniquely. So I think that screams out as one way to do that. But let's pull in our showdown settings here, which are mostly just correlation boosts. So if we have a wide receiver captain, we'll play more of the QB. If we have a QB captain, we'll play more of the pass catchers, that kind of stuff. And let me put in 3. I'll put in 2 uniques. We'll just build this way. I'll put variants on. That should be enough. We're going to build 250 here and sim it out. Let's see what the top lineups look like here. And of course, stochastic sim still coming up. I'll do a hand build. We'll get there, guys. If you want more showdown content from me, I did the strategy show this morning with Laffy. Very fun show as always. Honestly, Laffy, I feel like our friendship is growing on those shows. So check it out for that reason alone. If you want to see the bromance continue on. But really, it was a fun show as always. Then we had some good divergent takes, neurodivergent, and generally just, disagreed on some stuff, but in a good way. Hopefully, I'll make good content for you guys. So check that out too on Stochastic's channel if you are so inclined. And 2 p.m. today, NBA video coming up on the Splash Play Bets channel. There is also a playlist on the YouTube NFL channel if you want to check out my NBA content every day, Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. I'm the last man, the dying space of DFS. Everybody's like, let's switch to pivot to betting content. And I say no. I will do DFS until it doesn't exist anymore because I still enjoy it, and I know you guys do too. So check me out doing all this stuff. This is me dancing while the sim. Well, we build the lineups here. Wish it would go fractionally faster. But good data takes time. Like I always say. Almost there. NBA is going to be fun today, too. A lot of guys out for NBA. Kind of like the Lions, I guess. All right, let's sim these out. Let's sim out in the Millie Maker. Of course, the portfolio tool on the solver, also pretty good if you want to make lineups fast and just use ETR's tools here for diversifying your lineup set. But I'm not doing it here because it adds more time and it doesn't really matter for you guys and what you're seeing. And of course, direct all your complaints to Mike Leone on Twitter. He personally does everything here. If you don't like a lineup, make sure you let him know. All right, your top ROI players, CeeDee Lamb and captain, or top ROI lineup. CeeDee Lamb and captain's almost an 800% ROI. According to TR data, only one dupe on this expected. Lamb, Gibbs, Pickens, Kevontae Turpin makes it. Ferkser makes it. Very low owned play. Dak Prescott. So you're fading Kennedy as your Detroit value. You're not playing JMO, getting more unique there. And you are playing more Cowboys. So you're getting a little bit off the beaten path. That does seem a little more Lions heavy in the optimals. So that makes sense. CeeDee Lamb at number 2, Jared Goff, George Pickens, Ross Dwelly, Tom Kennedy, Dak Prescott here. Another CeeDee Lamb captain lineup with Lamb and Pickens. So that's the top 2 going Lamb and Pickens. All you Cowboys pass game lovers. ETR is giving you what you're looking for. This one here, a lot of top finishes here. Only 2 dupes with Pickens captain, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, Kevontae Turpin, Tom Kennedy makes this one. Dak Prescott. So we are fading Jama, but we get the chalky Tom Kennedy in his value. And in this lineup, we're playing the other Jay Williams. Well, only Pickens at captain, no CeeDee Lamb. It does feel to me like if you have Lamb or Pickens at captain, I probably wouldn't want to play the other receiver in the flex, but we did have that hit for the first 2 top ROI lineups, so I don't want to poo-poo it too much. Number 4, we got Jahmyr Gibbs, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jake Ferguson. We got Ross Dwelly, Kevontae Turpin. Okay, I mean, again, it seems like a lot of JMO fading up top is really like the main observation here. This one, though, fades JMO, fades Pickens, fades Lamb, fades Javonte, too, I guess, to some extent. Fades Tom Kennedy. Gotta say, these are low dupe lineups that don't feel like crazy. You're just fading key parts are going to be owned. This number 5 lineup here, 700% ROI with Jahmyr Gibbs captain. And then a 5-1 build with the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Kevontae Turpin, and Malik Davis. What did Malik Davis play last week? Malik Davis, not Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors. That's just depressing to see his name now. Malik Davis, 9 snaps last week. Javonte, 56. That is barely a roll for Malik Davis. He's got to do something fast for himself. Overall, the highest ROI players, Ross Dwelly, 173% ROI. Hunter Lukey, 148% ROI. And Dwelly's coming up a good amount. Dwelly, ETR data loving him. He was out there a lot last week. He just didn't get any targets. Kevontae Turpin, 143% ROI at 21% exposure. He's coming up a little bit of captain, too. Luke Schoonmaker, 135% ROI and only 7% exposure. David Montgomery, 134% ROI. Then Pickens, Dak, Javonte. Wow. Where's JMO? JMO's still a positive ROI, but boy, he was not in any of those top ROI lineups at all. What's a JMO captain look like in ETR data? Let's see real fast. JMO captain with Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, Aubrey, Ross Dwelly, Jared Goff. ETR data team apparently also likes these kind of graphs. If you are playing with the solver, where it has like a V curve, hits a lot for first. If it's not hitting, it's losing, basically. But a 5-1 Detroit build coming up at number 1. Another JMO here. JMO, Gibbs, Pickens, Aubrey, Malik Davis, Jared Goff. I think the JMO stuff just might be a little bit too owned, would be, I think, the concern point. But all right. We'll see what Stochastic has next. Last stage of our journey here. I probably don't need to rerun the sim because I did it on stream not that long ago, but I'll do it again. Why not? Again, guys, if you get any value out of this video, even if all you're going to do is fade me, I don't think it's going to work out super well always if you fade everything, but hit the like button, subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. Just one guy doing the best I can, help you guys out across NFL and NBA. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. People want to talk best ball. I don't really want to talk best ball. But we'll see how it goes this week. I have a lot of teams that are hanging around third place, a lot that are dead because of injuries. It doesn't really matter at this point. This year, honestly, I think advance rate's going to matter less than ever this year because the advance rate players are going to be so chalky heading into the playoffs. And we have so many injured guys. But yeah, look, I don't know. I'll know come week 17 how it's going, and how it goes week 17 will determine how much best ball content I do in 2026. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, a lot of bandwidth goes to NFL and NBA. Regular DFS play, that is. All right. Let's run the sim here. And again, check out the ETR data. No promo codes going, and their Black Friday deal's over, but the solver is a great tool. Link down below if you want to check that out. And of course, Stochastic, we're going to show you guys here 15% off coming up. Link down in the description or use promo code SPLASH over there, and you will get a discount. And yeah, it's great tools. All the cheap stuff, all the expensive stuff at Stochastic is 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. So do check it out for yourself. Thanks for this. But our rabbit on next back in best ball is a guy who's now in jail caused problems for me after threatening to attack me on Twitter, but I appreciate the kind words. But yes, the guy, if you missed it earlier this year, did get in a thing where I was accused of doxing somebody by mentioning that they were in a city in Pennsylvania after the guy threatened to come to my house and attack me. And somehow it's doxing to mention somebody's 100,000 person city. But then the guy got arrested for putting fentanyl in coke and killing somebody. So he's in jail right now, I think was the update somebody gave me over Discord. So shout out to that guy. Hope he's doing splendidly. Yes, fun stuff on in the world of content creation as always. Jahmyr Gibbs at number 1. Jahmyr Gibbs, Anthony Ferkser, David Montgomery, Jake Bates, Jared Goff, Javonte Williams. What a great transition here. For me as always, your top ROI lineup. Spags, I guess he wins until the guy gets out of jail, I guess. Jahmyr Gibbs at number 2 again. So Gibbs captains coming up on both sides. Gibbs, Ferkser, CeeDee Lamb, Jameson Williams, Jared Goff, Tom Kennedy. So you're not getting the JMO fade up top here, but you are getting Ferkser and Gibbs at captain. That's that. Number 3, George Pickens, Brandon Aubrey, Cowboys D, Isaac Tesla, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devontae Williams at number 3. Number 4, George Pickens, Anthony Ferkser. Ferkser, man, big winner here on this data and ETRs. Cowboys D, Dak Prescott, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devontae Williams. And number 5, Jahmyr Gibbs, Ferkser again, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Luke Schoonmaker. If I'm going to choose which lineups I like more between ETR and Stochastic, I feel like I like the ETR lineups a little bit more. That said, the Cowboys pass game shining through again. A JMO fade on both. We only had one Jameson Williams lineup in the top 5 for both. That surprises me. I really kind of thought with the projection that both sides were just going to force feed JMO, but a lot of volatility on this. That's that. He wanted to kill me because I was mean to him in the chat because he said something stupid that was written poorly. So yeah, that's why he didn't want to kill me. He threatened to come to my house and attack me. I'm in front of my family. So that's really cool stuff. But you know, then people on Twitter defended him because he was nice to them on Twitter. That's why best ball to me, like I just don't care. Like whatever I win, great. I'm taking money out of the pool. Whatever I don't win, we'll see if I come back in 2026. If I do, it might not be on stream. But I'll probably still gamble on it, but I don't think I want to stream it next year personally, but we'll see. Top ROI players according to Stochastic. Anthony Ferkser, 28% ROI at number 1 in the flex. ETR and Stochastic 11 Ferkser. I got to say here, again, Ferkser played 16 snaps last week, so you're not getting a ton of volume there. Ross Dwelly played a ton of snaps. He's not good either. He's commanded at least a few targets as well. Neither guy a great play, but if I were choosing between the two, I'd probably take the shot on Dwelly. But I guess he's coming up as a projection play, so I guess it's also why you're getting Ferkser. Number 2, Jackson Meeks for Detroit here, captain, $300 salary. I presume this is mostly, like we always talk about here, sometimes you get weird captains in the sim because it's just a reflection of trying to get to the pay-up options that could spike an upside. And if all of them spike and Jackson Meeks puts up like a 15-point game to 1 out of 100 times, you would win $1 million. Like that's sort of the logic there. But Jackson Meeks, as he played it all this year, he played 1 snap 3 weeks ago, 4 snaps in week 4 as the fourth or fifth receiver for Detroit. He probably does not hit very often, but when he does hit it captain, oh boy, you get rich. Cowboys D at captain coming up here. Again, they're going to create a lot of pressure against Jared Goff. If the entire chalk fails for Detroit, it's probably because Cowboys D had a hell of a day and sacked Goff and created some turnovers and maybe even a touchdown. Anthony Ferkser here at 11%. Captain for him. Again, Ferkser not playing a whole lot, not super exciting. Jahmyr Gibbs at number 5, captain here. Positive ROI despite being mega chalk. Again, I really do strongly believe that Gibbs has, I mean, in my opinion, it's not going to really bear out with the data, but like, I think he makes a winning lineup 99% of the time, whether it's in the flex or at captain. It's just not a good defense, and Gibbs is good. He's going to get a ton of PPR points, to be my guess. But Gibbs here, positive ROI at captain, despite being very chalky. Exposures here. Michael, I don't know what you're talking about, but I appreciate the sentiment. I'm not blaming anybody. It's people being idiots on Twitter that don't know anything, and that's fine. That's why I don't go on Twitter anymore. I just post my content there. You can see my videos on Twitter, but the interaction that I have with people, Discord here, that's it for me. In large part because of that situation. Jahmyr Gibbs, 49% exposure. Fields at 51. So for Jahmyr Gibbs here, really think he is a strong play, but it is technically a fade in stochastic data. You are getting more at captain though. 34% Gibbs, Fields at 21. So a little bit light in the flex, definitely heavy at captain. And overall, you're getting 49 plus 34. You're getting him at about 83% of lineups. So vast majority there. Jared Goff at number 2, 43% exposure, Fields at 37. Javonte Williams, 39% exposure, Fields at 28. Dak Prescott exposure, 37%, Fields at 47. So a fade on Dak, which I can get behind here. We have had massive Cowboys, scoring days where the receivers have hit like crazily, and Dak still put up 18, 19 fantasy points. Given the fact that you have a good projection on Gibbs and JMO, I feel like out of that top 3 of Gibbs, JMO, and Dak Prescott, I mean, the sim seemingly is willing to fade Jameson Williams a little bit more, but I just think the field's going to play the shit out of Dak, and I'm willing to be under the field there. So kind of nice to see it from the sim too. CeeDee Lamb, 33% exposure, Fields at 40, light fade on him. And Ferkser, you're getting in a third of lineups of the Fields at 3%. The sim loves Anthony Ferkser. It's probably, like for stochastic, the Ferkser thing is also like, it allows you to afford the studs again, but it's also got to be that you're getting leverage on Dwelly. And Ferkser has had big games in the past. And as we always talk about, like stochastic data does favor that longer term sample size. Sometimes, to the massive benefit, sometimes I would say to a little bit of detriment, where Ferkser was like good at Tennessee 4 years ago. That might be factoring into the data a little bit because there isn't a lot of recent data. But that's how I feel about that, seeing so much Ferkser come up. Jahmyr Gibbs, 34% exposure at captain, Fields at 21. JMO, 17% exposure at captain, Fields at 23. George Pickens, 8% exposure, Fields at 12 for captain. Tesla, 5% exposure, Fields at 3. Montgomery, same thing, Fields at 2. They're getting 5. So besides Gibbs, it's pretty flattened out. Overall, the highest leverage plays are Ferkser in the flex, Jahmyr Gibbs at captain, no surprises based on what we saw. Javonte Williams in the flex, 11% more in the field. I think he'll get underplayed relative to that Cowboys pass game. That's been the case a lot lately for Javonte Williams. Cowboys D coming up 8% more in the field. Lions D coming up 8% more in the field. Rule of thumb for showdowns: when everybody's playing the defense, play it less. Nobody's playing the defense, consider playing 1. I think you can play 2 today and get really unique. It has happened before in a Cowboys slate. Cowboys Cardinals. Nobody wanted to play either defense. Both defenses made a winning lineup. Total here is definitely more aggressive. It's 54 over under today. But yeah, defense is definitely in play for me. Don't need to put him in every lineup, but I would be over. Most negative leverage plays, Tom Kennedy. It's so funny to see Stochastic, who, if you've missed this morning's show, Stochastic CEO named Tom Kennedy. Yet Stochastic is here with his namesake on a slate, and you are actively fading him. Negative 18% leverage on Tom Kennedy. He's going to be played in about 40% of lineups in the flex. The only one to get about 20% and change. Dak Prescott, 10% less in the field. Jake Bates, 10% less in the field. He's going to be owned pretty decently in the projection here. 26% ownership for a Lions kicker where, like, they could easily go for it on 4th down every single time and Bates doesn't get to kick a field goal. It's totally a possibility. I am not crazy about Jake Bates, that ownership. Neither is the sim. Jamison Williams, you are fading him in the flex. Only 28% exposure to JMO. Wow. Negative 9% leverage. So a fade on JMO at flex and captain. And Kavontae Turpin, negative 9% leverage. You're only playing him 5% in the flex. Fields at 14. That is a big JMO fade. I'm surprised because they haven't projected so highly. You can see here, 20.2 projection for JMO, but he is cheap. The ownership's going to be there, and there's definitely volatility in JMO standard deviations. So I guess that's how that happens. But let's do a single lineup sim here. I'm going to hand build it out. Again, shouts to all you guys watching live. Hit that like button, subscribe. Shouts to all you guys watching after the fact as well. Again, a lot of the views these days are after the fact. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button here. We are on that march to 5K subs, and I think we're going to hit it. Between the two channels, I've got like about 7K, I don't know, somewhere in that subs. So feeling good about it, but hit the like button, subscribe. Help me hit that vanity metric. Subs are just a vanity metric, but let's get to a round number here. My goal of getting DK partner money in 2026. It's easier if you guys subscribe. Probably. I don't know. But hit the like button, subscribe. It does help fighting the YouTube algorithm always. And check out Stochastic too. This tool I'm going to show you guys here, the sim stuff I just showed you, all 15% off. I'll link down in the description for Stochastic, promo code SPLASH, and it does support the show. Half the money you pay to them comes to me, so please do that. All right. Do I want to get unique at captain? So what are the things we know about the slate? Playing more Cowboys will get us more unique. But a lot of people are going to be playing Dak plus Lamb, Pickens, that kind of stuff. I do love Gibbs. I do find it hard to believe Gibbs fails here. Does he make it as captain? Sim likes him as captain. I like him. I'm going to play him at captain. I'm going to play Jared Goff as well. What Cowboys? I like CeeDee Lamb the most out of the pass catchers. But I don't mind Pickens, and Pickens will be a little bit lighter owned. The run matchup, it's a pretty bad red zone run defense for Detroit. 0.06 EPA per red zone run. Let's put in Javonte first, because playing the run game from Dallas at all will get us off the beaten path. I am going to play Tom Kennedy here. I think he's mega chalk, but I still think he's going to make a winning lineup here because of what the value provides. I just don't think anybody else is going to get. Like, if I had to guess, he gives you like 8, maybe 12 fantasy points. If things like work out really well. I just don't think anybody else in that range can do that. Maybe besides Ross Dwelly. I mean, I think the Cowboys D is going to get sacks on Goff. But I don't know if that's enough to put him in this lineup. We're fading JMO now at this current point. What if I put JMO in? That leaves me at 4,100. And we're getting chalkier for playing more Cowboys. Or more Lions, rather, than Cowboys. Let's put in Cowboys D with this. Because that'll cut the ownership product by playing Goff with Cowboys D. Cowboys D can get a bunch of sacks. So Gibbs, captain. Goff, Javonte, Tom Kennedy, JMO, Cowboys D. 32% ROI, not bad. I can go out on that. What if we swap off JMO? What else can we play? Nothing that good. We go Kennedy. We got to probably go Tesla too. Then 8,100 left. And you go Jake Ferguson. So not playing Cowboys D here. Gibbs, Goff, Javonte, Tom Kennedy, Tesla, Jake Ferguson. Lower ROI at 16%, but still positive. I'm just playing with it. Let me try one more swap here, just out of curiosity. All right, Kennedy. What does Dwelly get us? So we're fading JMO, we're fading Tesla, we're fading the high ADOT guys who need Goff to avoid pressure to get the ball downfield. This leaves us 9,700 left. We could play Lamb or Pickens. I'll play Lamb. I think this might be unique enough to pull this off. No, probably not. This is probably too chalky. That's still a better ROI. 60% ROI for Gibbs, Captain, Goff, Javante, Tom Kennedy, Dwelly, Lamb. Let's see. Is it higher with Lamb or Pickens? I think this is not a bad baseline, though. I like these. I am just playing with myself. That's true. If I play Cowboys in the captain spot, may as well put Turpin in. Sure, sure. That's a negative ROI. Huh. So swapping Lamb to Pickens made the ROI go negative. So I presume it would be really negative if I went Jake Ferguson, right? Because like normally the rule of thumb would be better shot of winning, leaving some salary on the table here. No, negative 54%. Wow. So it only liked Lamb in this build. That's weird. Anyway, I've played with myself enough now. We built some lineups here. Some of them are good. Use them if you want, I guess. But guys, I'm going to give you guys 3 ways to get unique on the slate based on everything we just saw. Before I do that, though, one last ask. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. I am ultimately, it may seem like it with how refined and fine-tuned the show is. I'm just one dude who shows up here every day for NBA and NFL, doing the work as best I can in these quote-unquote dying days of DFS. I'm still here, and you guys keep watching these videos more and more, really, as the season's going on in NFL and NBA. So please help me keep doing that, fighting that YouTube algorithm. Hit that like button, subscribe here. We're so close to 5K subs. I would love to hit that this weekend at the latest. Stochastic 15% off, link down below. All the stuff I showed you here on screen. Get it for 15% off. Cheap stuff, expensive stuff, weekly, monthly, whatever you want. Multi-sport packages too. Get that for yourself at Stochastic. All with 15% off in the promo code SPLASH. It does support the show directly. And if you want to support the show as well, $5 to join here. Get access to my premium video every week where I go game by game with all the advanced analytics. My data sheet as well with the same thing here on Office. Office.com uploaded lovingly every week. But the same stuff I look at and talk about here, you get that same thing for yourself. And it has helped people win 50K before on Slate. So I think it's a little good thing for yourself for very cheap. All right. 3 ways to get unique. Because so, like, to be clear, this is just to get unique. Fading Jahmyr Gibbs seems like it. He's going to get into every lineup. I think he fits the game theory of a guy everybody's going to want to play. I think the fact, too, that, like, he didn't hit last week, probably not going to impact as much as it might if somebody else. Like, I think Pickens will be a little bit less owned because he didn't go nuts last week where Lamb did. For Gibbs, people just want to play the guy. He's fun to click. And, you know, the only thing that maybe keeps him in check is people are respecting Dallas's defense a little bit too much in terms of them being competent. They're not going to play him on the slate. But yeah, I think Gibbs, if you were to fade him, you'd be different. So that's one way to get unique. And that could probably be one of very few levers you need to get unique. Number 2 way to get unique here, playing the defenses. I just think they're not get played at all. About 20% combined ownership between Cowboys and Lions. Nobody ever wants to play defenses on shootout slates, but in reality, you have 2 teams that drop back a lot. In Goff's case, a QB who's missing his top receiver and his top tight end and some O-linemen, and he's dropping back a lot, facing a team that creates crazy pressure. I still think like people are going to be underplaying Goff because they know that too. But in reality, like people think Goff's going to have a tough day, but they're not going to play Cowboys defense. So play the Cowboys, play the Lions, just play a defense a little bit more than you probably would want to because nobody else is gonna. 3rd way to get unique, and I like this play a lot. I think Tom Kennedy visually on Thanksgiving was like, oh shit, he filled in, looked good. But everybody saw that game. Everybody watching football on Thanksgiving saw Tom Kennedy come in, be a viable slot target. If you go Tesla's way, if you go Dwelly's way, if you just go Gibbs and JMO and play the good guys. But in reality, like you're going to get a lot of Thanksgiving-based bias in favor of Tom Kennedy, who projects incredibly well. He's going to come up a lot that way. Jameson Williams, same thing. And we saw here in the sim data, like maybe playing those guys less is a good move. Again, I saw the same things. I was like, holy shit, Tom Kennedy looks like pretty good out there as a slot guy. But if he doesn't hit, you know, the field's probably going to overplay him relative to what those outcomes are. So just keep that in mind. Gamble responsibly, guys. Even though it is always money time here on this channel, follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the channel at Splash Play Pod, whether it is on YouTube or on Twitter. You can get the videos that I'm doing on both. And also check out my NBA channel at 2 p.m. today. Had an awful day in NBA yesterday. Played too much Mo Gay when that opened up. That fucked me so bad. My data didn't even say to play that much. Still played that much. But I am dead set on having a good day in NBA today with a lot of value opening up. So 2 p.m., watch that video on the at Splash Play Bets channel or check the playlist on here as well. And, you know, Let's and say this to your loved ones today. I have to click the GIFs. I uploaded them. I don't know what the context for me needing to play this GIF would be, but I do love the GIF. This one is easy. Oh, playing JMO and Gibbs. Ew, ew. That's easy. Anyway, I'll be back later today, guys. Here's a QR code if you want to get 15% off Stochastic. Here's a QR code if you want to join the channel. I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Check out my Stochastic video from this morning too, and NBA in an hour. All right. Bye, guys. Good luck. Enjoy. Fun game. Watch it. Bye.